Welcome to AP Literature and Composition. As most of you know, AP English Literature and Composition is a two-semester course designed for seniors, and it is the equivalent of English 102 offered at the university level. There are many objectives that the College Board would like us to meet, but my favorite is to understand the ways writers use language to provide meaning and pleasure. This differs from some of the standards that are part of AP Lang because we're looking at prose in AP Lit, and because we are intended to really examine the beauty of that prose. That's my favorite part. And then we're really to replicate that in our own writing. And it's one of the reasons that a student can earn an extra point bump in AP Lit on the exam by crafting their own beautiful writing. How can I be successful? So the first book that we will be reading, we're currently working on college applications, but when we start with our novel study, the first book that we read will be Brave New World, which is a rather rigorous text. So students find that they are encountering difficulty as they read. My favorite strategy is that they should listen to the audio version of the book while they are also simultaneously reading the text. And those two things have to happen sort of simultaneously. They're really important to be done in tandem, right, with one another. It has something to do with fluency. And if a student is reading, let's say, at an independent reading level of 11th grade, if they do those two things simultaneously, then magically they are now reading at an independent reading level of first year college. So those two things done together can be very, very helpful. And a lot of my previous students have really indicated that really helped them achieve success. Really, this class is about putting forth your best effort. Whether last year you had English 11 or AP Lang does not really matter. As long as you show up and give it your best, you will be fine. It's really important that you try to do your work on time. We're trying to model the sorts of behavior that are expected in college, but we do this semester, usually it's one late assignment per semester, but because we're all living in strange and unusual times and they can be very stressful, students are allowed to submit 2 assignments per semester for full credit. Some restrictions apply. They've been discussed with students and they're outlined in the course syllabus. Because this is a college level class, and really for all classes, academic integrity really matters. And it's just that when we're in a completely online environment, that sometimes it becomes, I don't know, a little easier to be, a little less careful about where we get our work and how we cite our work and whether or not our work is completely our own. Just a gentle reminder that, as always, academic integrity matters. Most of you are probably familiar with the AP format, but for those of you who are not, it is exactly like the AP Lang exam. There is a 60-minute multiple choice test and 3 essays, and students are given 40 minutes apiece for those essays. Now, last year, of course, we were in strange times, and it was a very abbreviated version of the test. Students had to only do 1 essay. There was no multiple choice. There was only one of the 3 essays, and that was the literary analysis section, where students were given a piece of text, an excerpt from a previously published work, and then they had to rhetorically or literarily analyze that text. It's very similar to one of the prompts in AP Lang for those of you with familiarity with that particular exam. So we've changed up our reading list a little bit for this semester. We chose novels we're reading a novel and 2 plays. Works that are a little bit shorter. Normally we would be doing Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. In the fall, it's a very long, deep, dense text. I personally love it. It was my saving grace personally when I was in AP Lit, but it is a really long text, and we've made the decision to use some shorter text for the fall, given the constraints of online learning, and we think that will be better suited for our students and our current working conditions. The first text, as I mentioned earlier, that we'll be reading this semester is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, a dystopian English novel, a lot of fun. And then there's Bless Me Ultima, which is a Chicano novel with a young boy as a protagonist. And I really love this novel. There are elements of magical realism for those of you familiar with that element, and it is really it's really a powerful novel. And then the last book that we read will be A Raisin in the Sun, the award-winning play by Lorraine Hansberry. So for grades, I know this is probably old news to most of you, but in AP, if you earn a grade of C or better, you get a grade bump. So, it adds a point on your total grade point average. I'm going to calculate grades the same way that grades are normally calculated, right? The default setting. And the only exception I'd like to make is that, of note, is I do not weight grades. And I feel that that's particularly helpful. It takes some of the stress off students in an AP class. Sometimes if essays or tests have their own category, then students can feel particularly overwhelmed. So points are points are points. So whether we're writing an essay or doing some really kind of rudimentary task, points are points are points. This is why it's important for students to do all of the work that's offered, because really being a solid worker, somebody who turns in all of your work and earns all of the points that are available, that can really sort of safeguard you against a low test or quiz score. And a lot of students find that sort of comforting. Again, how to be successful, just give your best effort. Make sure that work is complete and turned in on time. I can't reiterate that enough. But in the land of COVID, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do to be successful. So number one, make sure that you are actually attending the synchronous lessons. They are designed to prepare you for the assignments that are given weekly, the 2 weekly A and B assignments that I issue twice a week. If you missed the synchronous lesson, or if you found that you were a little overwhelmed by the lesson, then the Google Slides, which are normally part of our synchronous lesson, will generally be posted at the end of the day or the following day, depending upon your period of AP Lit. So please feel free to review those slides within Google Classroom. Wednesdays are really designed for extra help in addition to some other things that we do. So ask me for help during Wednesday's lesson. Hang out at the end of Wednesday's lesson or our other lessons and ask questions. Send me an email. I'm pretty good about responding to those, or meet with me during online flex time. Now, online flex time is offered Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And you just need to email me, and then we make arrangements for you to click on the Zoom link, and I'll meet you on Zoom, and then we can have a face-to-face discussion regarding whatever issue you would like to talk about. Netiquette, because we are living in strange times, just a reminder that even if you are Zooming from your bedroom, it is important that your attire be appropriate, your comments, and your behavior. I know that's usually not something that I have to remind AP students about, but just throwing it on out there. There is a course calendar. The course that you see, calendar that you see here is an example of my English 11 course calendar, but there is a similar one. It's almost identical for AP Lit with the AP Lit assignments. Gives you sort of an idea of our pacing, and these can be found in Google Classroom. Just as a heads up, for some of you had me last year in English 11, in the past, my calendars covered a month at a time. I find that it's a little bit easier to schedule according to 5-week grading periods. So a big change for this year is that we will have calendars that cover 5 weeks at a time, so that they will begin and end with each grading period, so that it makes a little sense. It gives a little structure. I feel like when we're at home and days sort of blend into one another, that kind of structure can be helpful in navigating distance learning. Not that really anybody needs it, but again, a reminder that when we're online, there are some things that we're doing a little bit differently. So just some gentle reminders about the importance of being appropriate in an online platform. And I think here's the most important one. This is for myself as well as for my students, right? That this is new territory for all of us. We're learning new skills, and that's exciting. I mean, I know that we would all, myself included, much rather be face to face. There are things that we can do. There are connections that we can make in a classroom that are a little bit more difficult virtually. But as we're all navigating this new territory and we're learning new skills, I think our default mode should be to be kind, right? To remember that we're going to make mistakes. My students know that for sure about me. They see me making them daily. In our synchronous lessons, I'm getting better. But, you know, as a 58-year-old who's been teaching for 35 years, this is brand new territory for me as it is for our kids. And so we'll just remember to give, you know, to be graceful and to be gracious towards one another, and know that these are strange times. Your kids will be telling their own children about the time when they had to learn online. But I really do look forward to working with your kids this year. I do have to say my AP Lit students this year are wonderful. They're kind, they're friendly. They care about learning so far, right? It's all good. So I appreciate you sharing your kids with me. And please note that we really do care about your students acquiring real content this year, acquiring skills that are going to be useful to them, not just about the AP exam, but their ability to read deeply and to read critically and to be deep thinkers, I think will serve them well no matter what they pursue beyond high school. So thanks very much. And I hope that you all have a really, really awesome year.